I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. And I wanted to take a closer look with you guys about what is going on here with this Iranian war thing, right? What is really the end goal ultimately? Because the people like that run our government and the people that run the so-called government of Iran, ultimately, I don't believe for a second, are ultimately in control, or maybe not even really know what the ultimate end goal is. I would say the ultimate end goal is the end of the petrodollar. Now you'd say, well, why would the United States want that? Well, first off, there is no United States. It's a fantasy, just like America is a dream. It doesn't exist in the way that we've been sold it, okay? The petrodollar has to end in order for the new, or should we say the New World Order's currency system, which will ultimately be crypto, to come into place. But the petrodollar is going to have to end, and for that to end, you have to have major changes in the rate of oil in the world. It has to be shooken up to where the petrodollar is no longer the leading currency in the world. For instance, the only ships that are getting through the Strait of Hormuz are ships that are not paying in petrodollars, United States currency. Those are the only ones that are getting through, and they are getting through. They're hugging the coast of Iran, and they're going through. And no, these few ships and stuff are not what's going to ultimately break the petrodollar. It's going to take a lot more. But with that being said, I also want to talk about the realistic, is it realistic at all for the United States, including throw in Israel and throw in the UK, or whoever the main allies are, right? Is it even remotely possible that they could topple Iran as a nation? Do you know that Iran has a voluntary military force that is actually credited as part of their military force? Do you know that they have, let me pull up a few numbers here. It is said that they have voluntary and trained, okay, somewhat trained, not like trained like you're in this on a daily basis. They're kind of a active reserve, and there's like 10 million. And their claims that they've had another million sign up or claim they want to join in the last, since this conflict started, right? That's more people than if you take the armies of China, United States, and Russia and put them all together. Iran has more people willing to fight than all those added up of the militaries of the main militaries of the world. I mean, it's just incredible. And I think I understand the reason why. Let's see, where's my... See, the people there, we've all heard propaganda and everything about, how badly people are treated in Iran. And you're going to have bad actors and bad things everywhere. But I would argue that the way we're treated in this country, it can't be much worse in Iran. I suspect that people in Iran are treated and have a more equitable shake in things than the people in the United States. We know for a fact, at least you should by now, know that our government is corrupt. And corrupt is used a really nice word for what is actually going on. You're talking about the people in our government are doing things with underage people, and it's known and even put out there. And all these politicians are right in the mix of it. I know you can deny any one of your favorite cult of personalities, say, no, well, he isn't involved in that, even though his name is all over, the Epstein files. He's not involved in it. He's just there for business. He's just doing business. He's a businessman. Yeah, right. No. When you get to where you feel like you have no law that can take you down, you do lawless things. Money corrupts and power corrupts, absolutely. You understand? Most of you can't really understand because you've never had or been in that kind of a situation. I haven't either. I've been in a situation where I was upper middle class for about a decade in my life. Made a lot of money. And, not that much money, but, like $20,000 to $80,000 a month on a regular basis for years. And it does something to you. It does something to you, and it's not something good that it does to you. Anyways, all right, let's look at a couple of things. Like, these are just estimates. Military in the United States, 1.3 million, right? Okay. And that's military that's in the military. They're in there every day, that kind of thing, pretty much. Russia, 1.1. Okay. China, 2. India, 1.4. So 2 million in China, right? And 1.4 in India. And Iran, daily wearing military garb and all that is supposedly above 600,000. Who knows if this number is even exactly right. But they have a civilian clothed military that doesn't wear BDUs, doesn't wear military insignia and all that. They are just trained with weapons and keep the weapons with them. They don't turn their weapons in. They're supplied with supplies and therefore defending specific neighborhoods, areas, making sure, if something goes down, that everybody in the country has access to defend the country. And there's like 10 million of them. They're called the, let's see here. What was it? Trying to remember the name of it. Sorry, guys. Got too many tabs. I'll come up with the name here in a second, but doesn't matter what they're called, really. But there's a lot of them. Now, also, I wanted to take a look at this video here, okay? This is Iran's Armed Forces Military Parade in Sacred Defense Week 2023. Iran had a military parade just a couple of years ago, okay? And you can, let me mute it. Sound doesn't do anything for us. And it's like, well, that's not that many troops. Well, the problem is that the audience are also troops. They just don't wear uniforms like these guys. These guys, of course, will be higher trained, and but they have 10 million and apparently a lot more people signing up. And I can understand if our government wasn't as corrupt as they are, and they were really for the people, I and you and many of us would be willing to fight for our country and our government, right? But are we willing to join the military now, knowing what we know about our government? No, there's no way we're going to do it, right? Well, in Iran, they are doing it. Why? Why aren't they revolting? Why are they refusing? And I know you can always find somebody saying there was a protest here or there. I've looked into all these things, okay? There are very, very few protests, okay? And 10 million plus men of fighting age, and it's men. They don't have women in the reservist, the active reserve, which is 10 million people with weapons of various kinds. I don't know what I'll give them. But this video here is going to show us some of the equipment that they have and kind of how they operate. I'm going to let it play here in the background. And I'm going to forward it sometimes. They like that high step, of course. And another thing I want you to notice as I'm going through here, let me see what this is set on. 720. Let's go to 1080. That'll be maybe a little bit clearer for you. Okay. Notice too, occasionally when they show the people that are up there in that little stand, those are like the review people and stuff. There are people that are Asian up there. There are Russians sitting up there. I don't know when we're going to see it here, and I apologize for my voice, but it is what it is. I don't, my voice is really giving me a hard time here. I don't know that I would be wanting to go to war or fight in that outfit. That's for sure. Especially in the desert, what's hot as it is over there. And fast forward, and I want to get to really some more of the equipment, but I was hoping that we would see some of these. Let me back that up for a second. Maybe we'll. Yeah, you can see. You can kind of see that there are the guy on the left over here. He looks kind of Asian, but those are mostly all Iranians there. But they put the camera on some of them sometimes, and it's looks like they're from China, like Chinese or somewhere like that. Not those guys. I'm referring to some different ones. Check these guys out. That must be the old man crew there. Got some old dudes in there. Or older dudes and younger guys. You're going to see some of their equipment here because, those rifles there, those aren't very impressive at all. Although they'll kill the crap out of you. Let's see. Let me see if I can't go ahead and move us forward a little bit more. Their equipment, okay, here comes the start of some of the equipment. The equipment that I see in here is, well, it's very impressive. I think I'm going to have to move it forward a little bit more. Okay. Here we go. Now we're starting to get into some of their equipment here. Some drones. You get to see some of it actually, probably for the first time for most of you. There you go, some of their drones. It kind of looks like a Reaper drone, doesn't it? One of their drones. Another one of their drones. And all these are not necessarily probably bomb drones necessarily. They're, intelligence and all kinds of things. And some of them are just meant to go kaplooey when they hit something, of course. I'll keep jumping forward here some, because we got quite a bit to get through here. Some more of their drones. Oh, that's a kaplooey drone there, for sure. They don't look like a country to me that has had true sanctions on it. Meaning, like cut off from the world. Because if they were the axis of evil and all this kind of stuff, the world's T word, they wouldn't have all this stuff. And this is just the beginning of it. They would not have all of this stuff. They've got a lot of, really legitimate war equipment. Well, that one don't look too impressive there, but it still blow your house up. Those look more modern. And there's no way to know exactly, how many they've got of these things, but I would say that they probably have had a clue that seeing what's going on went on in Afghanistan, what went on in Iraq, what went on in Lebanon, what went on in all these different countries that the United States has attacked over the last 20 years, 30 years. Ever since I was 18 years old, we've been blowing up countries in the Middle East and calling it freeing them. And we like to free them with bombs. Now, Iraq, we killed several million people to free them. Okay, we got some tank kind of stuff coming up here. Like, it's like a howitzer, a smaller howitzer kind of thing. Now, I was in the military myself. The United States military is not something I'm proud of. Oh, there were some of the Asian dudes. Yeah, Asian looking kind of. But supposedly, I think that's the insignia for Iran. Not an expert on it, of course. But he's got the same thing on his hat or helmet that the other guy had on his sleeve, and he looked Asian. Now, of course, there's Asians in the United States that call themselves Americans, and so, you get a mix, I suppose, everywhere. All right, come on. So some more tank-type equipment. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to have to deal with that. There's more Asians. There's quite a few Asians. So Asia really has their hands in this. None of us know how complex you might call the politics that are actually going on in this world, and the deep deception on the people. Because I don't know if you've figured it out yet or not. Some of you have heard me say it, but this war is against us, meaning the people. All the people in this world are going to suffer, and some die because of this. Check these dudes out. They look like Russian. Armored battle tanks. Yes, the war is on us, the people. There's a class of people in this world that have 99% of the money, and we get the scraps. Check those Asians out. Those are definitely Asians. And of course, that looks kind of older, but it looks brand new at the same time. I don't know. And then there's most of this stuff is like this equipment looks brand new. The reason why I'm showing you this is to show you that these guys are well equipped, and they've been buying stuff or building it. Looks like a little bit of both. Missile defense, mobile missile defense, or missile launchers. Could be both. I don't know what kind of trucks those are. Like maybe computer centers or something. Hard to say. Where are you from, dude? Maybe from there. Let's see. Let me see if I can move us forward a little bit more until we get, because they save all the big fancy stuff towards the end. There's active denial equipment that you just seen go by. Okay, looks like they're getting more into some of the missile systems that they've got, rockets and missiles and interballistic missiles. Of course, these are not interballistic missiles or ballistic missiles. Those might be. Those are getting pretty big there. Those are tubes that they can fire rockets out of. Another Asian dude. There's big money in war. Big money in war. I always find it amazing when I look at these military parades. Apparently one of their ships that Mr. T's claimed it's at the bottom of the ocean, which I'm not so sure. I mean, I don't know. Neither do you. You can't if you just believe what Trump says, that means you'll believe anything. Check that out. What is that? Like rocket launching systems, mobile rocket launching systems, all brand new trucks. Looks like it's coming out of Korea, maybe? Some of this equipment? North Korea? Probably. All right, let me see. Let me look and see, move us on down a little bit more. That's a pretty serious looking tank there. have no idea how many of these things they have. The biggest thing that Iran has going to its defense is the fact that the whole country ain't nothing but mountains. Persia. That's why they call it the Persian Gulf. Because Persia has basically always been the dominant power for thousands of years. You know, when we think about these countries, the way we were taught growing up in America and all this, if you want to believe America is where we're at, we see these countries as like backwards or somehow less than, because we've been brainwashed that we're the greatest country in the world. We're the greatest, freest people. No, we're not. So we see things backwards and upside down as to what the actual reality likely is. And these guys obviously don't have a shortage of people willing to fight and defend their country. We, on the other hand, are basically at the lowest recruiting people volunteering to go into the military. We're at the lowest in like 40 years, or something like that. We're low. I don't know how long you'd have to go back to, but it's a long time. Probably longer than 40 years. I don't know. I looked at the numbers, and it's really, I guess you'd call it bad, but it ain't necessarily bad even. The people that are in the military are trying to get out, and the people that aren't in the military are not trying to go in. You know, they're obviously getting some recruits, because there's always going to be somebody dumb enough, like I was, to listen to someone that tells me, you should join the military. Really? Oh, because of this, you get to travel the world and travel the country and all this. Didn't mention that you might lose your life defending a bunch of liars. I forgot to mention that part. Artillery. More artillery. Let's keep going. Trying to see. I haven't seen what's towards the end of this. Mobile fast attack type vehicles. Well, they're all about their propaganda, that's for sure. But you got to have it if you're going to brainwash the people, which that's what they're doing too, no matter what you think. Whether they're a better country or not, from a treating their people standpoint, we don't really know. But I know one thing, that they're all believing a dream just like we have in this country. Soleimani, that he claimed he killed last time around. Some more rockets. Mobile drone launchers. Some bigger boy missiles. Knowing that Persia's been there digging in those mountains for thousands of years, there's nothing but buildings on the surface. All this stuff like this is going to be under the mountains. It's going to be hidden away. It's really the way most all militaries do it. But Persia specifically, because they've been there so long. You know, these guys might call themselves Iranians these days, but they're Persians. Just curious to see some of the stuff here at the end of this. Bigger and bigger rockets. Now, supposedly they have a they have an Air Force, and I would imagine they would have to hide all that underground as well. You know, if it's sitting on the surface, it's just going to get blown up. You'd have to have it underground as well, and you'd have to have your Navy type things. You'd have to have them coming out of caves, basically into the Persian Gulf and into the China Sea. You know, these guys have a long time to know that the people that run this country was going to send, well, what's happening right now to happen. We've had a long time. Those look pretty formidable there, and all on brand new equipment. For the fact that they've had all these sanctions, they sure look like they're doing pretty good. And there's the Koreans, maybe North Koreans, I don't know. They probably sold them a bunch of this stuff. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want that blowing up in my neighborhood. Lightning is bad enough when it strikes around. That's a big boy too. A huge piece of equipment to haul one, but they just go back and load up another one, assuming the carrier itself doesn't get blown up before we can get back underground. There's some more big ones. Really big ones. Holy smokes. Yeah, I haven't watched this before. Brand new trucks. Look at them. Yeah, they've looks like they've been suffering. Not getting any weapons from the United States like they used to. Because the United States, whether you realize it or not, armed Iran back in the 70s. They were cooperating with them back in the 70s because, well, somebody had some deal going. Looks like we might be about to the end of it here. Yep. And those would be some examples of some of the big boys they got. That's your ballistic type missiles. Let's say they can fly at Mach 20. 20 times the speed of sound. I mean, that's like a flash of lightning coming in. It's already there before you have a chance to do anything. Well, they can go celebrate. Oh boy. All right. Let's see what else I wanted to maybe show you. I don't know that there really is exactly. This is, I don't know why we didn't see any of these, but this is some of their equipment as well. Looks pretty heavy duty armor, everything to me. Actually looks better than what we got, to be honest. I've been seeing, I don't know about y'all guys, but I've been seeing a lot of military passing by where I live. And also quite a bit of military helicopters flying over in groups. I've seen that happen multiple times in the last couple of weeks. So there's Iran in the green. The red is the countries that Iran has designated as terrorists. You know, and this map is actually more accurate. You know, it's sad, but if you happen to know the truth, the United States are the terrorists. Not us as in me and you, or your grandma or your son, but you become a terrorist by what you do, by attacking other countries that haven't attacked you or haven't done nothing to really deserve for you to do it. And we have attacked all these countries in this area here. A little bit more statistics on their numbers and stuff. You know, it says here they've got 640,000 or so. And including their reserves for these forces are about 1 million. But then they've got 10 million on top of that are part of another group of their civilian clothed military. That's a significant number. Here's an article too that's talking about a little bit about the closest one I could find. It's talking about a little bit about how, because there's no way we're going in there and taking the country over. They might say that they've done it like they did with Venezuela and say, oh yeah, we defeated them and now they're, we're taking the oil. They ain't no telling what they liable to say. But to actually go in and forcibly take over Iran is just not happening. I think ultimately it is about everything is working towards their goals, okay? Agenda 2030, okay? Agenda 2021. Everything is working towards those goals. Everything we're doing is heading towards that direction. And again, I would say that highly likely these are the guys that are heavily behind it. The ones that say they are Jews, but are not. The same ones who have been kicked out of every country for a couple thousand years, basically. I went over this the other day in detail as to all the countries they got kicked out of for things to do with money, suspicion of political infiltration, suspicion of banking manipulation, and plagues, being blamed for plagues at different points in times throughout history. I wonder why that would be. You see, hungry, plague, economic resentment has to do with money, infiltration claims. They're playing the same game over and over again, and they're going to play themselves this time as being kicked out. But understand that even if it looks like that they were kicked out or squashed, it won't be real. They'll just be they'll give us what we want to hear. Tell us what they want us to believe. And if it tickles the ear enough, you go, ooh, I like the way that sounds. We did it. We got rid of them. And then they're going to come out with the solution. And the solution will have been created by the same group of people. Okay? All right. If you appreciate this kind of work, this something closer to the truth of what I'm trying to do, and have been trying to do for 16 years, please consider making a donation to my work. It's the only money I get other than $200 from YouTube. So I greatly appreciate it, and I'm putting together a list of anybody who does donate. I'm not going to out your last name, but I'll call you by your first name and your last initial, and be putting you in all my coming videos. I know you guys have a lot of questions about certain things like the Supernatural show and so on. I'm just taking a little break, giving myself some time to think about direction and what I should be doing. And but I've still got the channel, and I'm sure we'll be doing something, probably maybe coming back similar to what we were doing before in some ways. But I'm just taking a break. Okay. All right. I love you. Father in heaven loves you. And links are below. We'll see you next time.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.